From Kansas City's breaking news leader, this is NBC Action News.
Good evening. I'm Elizabeth Alex. The Waldo neighborhood is resting easier tonight. 1 year after rapists terrorized the community, one man is charged with raping 2 women. Our crews have been following the story since it broke. Mark Clegg was there when prosecutors detailed new charges against Bernard Jackson. Lisa Benson was at Kennedy's Bar and Grill in Waldo as the neighborhood watched the news conference unfold. We begin, though, with Mark Clegg, who is live downtown with more on the new charges Jackson faces. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Elizabeth. This is a big break in the case of these rapes that terrorized the folks in the Waldo neighborhood at the end of 2009 and the beginning of 2010. Now, today, the Jackson County prosecutor announced 22 additional charges against Bernard Jackson. He's the man currently in jail on charges related to another series of rapes in the Waldo area in the 1980s. These latest charges are related to 2 of the 5 recent rapes, one on September 29th, the other on January 23rd, and the complaints include burglary, kidnapping, restraint, sodomy, rape, sexual assault, and robbery. Investigators say they took their time building these cases because of the overwhelming amount of tips and the fact their suspect, Bernard Jackson, was already in custody.
I hope that today's charges, in addition to the cold cases that were filed back in May, will dissipate the fears that plague the residents of our city in the Waldo neighborhood.
There was obviously 5 rapes, 955 citizen tips were received, and over 1,000 reports were written in regards to this case.
But Jackson is being held without bond tonight. He makes his first court appearance on these latest charges tomorrow, charges that would carry multiple life sentences if he is found guilty. Now, that means 3 of these cases do remain unsolved tonight, and investigators continue their work, and they're asking for the public's help. Someone made a call to the TIPS hotline regarding the January 23rd case. Information related to a vehicle that was in an area they say was suspicious. Authorities would like to speak to that person again. The TIPS hotline, of course, is anonymous, and they don't have a way of getting in touch with that person. If you are the person who called in a tip regarding a vehicle on the January 23rd rape, you're asked to call the TIPS hotline again at 816-474-TIPS. Authorities would like to speak with you for more information. Now, of course, the Waldo area and the surrounding neighborhoods was such an area that was hit with such emotion as these rapes occurred. A lot of anger, a lot of frustration. Today, as the charges were announced, Lisa Benson was in the Waldo neighborhood, and she has the reaction.
People at Kennedy's Bar and Grill in Waldo listened intently this afternoon as the Jackson County prosecutor announced the 22 charges against convicted rapist Bernard Jackson.
If they do find him guilty, I don't think he should be able to walk on the streets anywhere in the United States or anywhere else in the world ever again.
It feels great. I think we all kind of suspected this was the guy once we heard the initial, evidence against him.
Tom Dreiling owns Kennedy's Bar and Grill. He remembers how Jackson's alleged crimes affected the people and businesses in Waldo.
Women really didn't want to go out very often just because, this guy was rolling around. We had to walk people out to their cars, which we had never had to do before.
Last February, Dreiling held a fundraiser at Kennedy's to add money to the reward fund, a reward police say garnered more than 900 calls to the TIPS hotline and ultimately led to Jackson's arrest.
It makes me feel good, assuming that he is the right guy, and that's going to keep everybody a lot safer.
And while Dreiling says there is nothing positive about the vicious attacks the women endured, he believes the Waldo community is closer and more vigilant because of Jackson's alleged crimes.
I think people are a little more cautious. We still walk ladies out if they want to.
Now, the residents we spoke to still have questions about the rapes he was not charged with, and they would like to see even more charges in the future. Reporting live in Waldo, Lisa Benson, NBC Action News.
All right, Lisa, thank you. Now, here's a look at where the 5 current rape cases happened. The first one happened September of 2009 in the 7500 block of Summit Street. In October, another woman was raped near 78th Terrace in Maine. In January, 2 women were raped on the same night, one in the 8300 block of Mercer, the other on East Port Simi Pass. And in February, the 5th rape happened in the 300 block of East 69 Terrace. 3 months later, on May 5th, police arrested Bernard Jackson, and the next day, prosecutors charged him with 4 rapes that happened in the 1980s in that same area. Today, prosecutors added 22 more charges on the list for 2 of the current rapes under investigation. Again, 3 cases do remain unsolved. Now, we are committed to following this case, and in our coverage of this case today, we sent out a breaking news alert on NBCActionNews.com at 12:30 about Jackson's new charges. Before that, we also tweeted the news, and more than 1,000 of you had the story in a matter of seconds. Then we brought you live coverage of the 2 o'clock news conference on our air today and on NBCActionNews.com as prosecutors made the latest announcement. On our website, you'll find complete coverage, including court documents and the entire news conference as well. NBCActionNews.com right there on our homepage. Now, here is what's next in this case. Jackson makes his initial court appearance tomorrow on these latest charges. A trial date will also be set at that time. The court will decide the order of the case, and as tradition dictates, the older charges, the older cases will most likely go to trial first. And again, Bernard Jackson is being held without bond. Elizabeth, this is a situation where prosecutors and investigators truly had time on their side. They were able to build this case because Jackson was in jail already. They weren't rushing. And as prosecutor Jim Knatzer said today, that this reminds him of the Precious Doe case. He says never in the city has he seen such dedication to talent and resources in solving a case. Very interesting. And of course, I know you remember the Precious Doe case.
Yeah, the little girl who was found decapitated in the park years ago. All right, Mark Clegg, thank you very much. We'll see you back here later on. Well, the big warm-up